All right, so check this out. In the middle of the night last night, Donald Trump went on a relentless posting spree trying to tear down the No King protests against him while simultaneously trying to build up his failed birthday military parade. It's so obvious that Donald Trump and the people around him are deeply offended by the fact that nobody went to his birthday bash. Everybody was busy in the streets of this country protesting against him. So I want to show you some of these posts that he issued in the middle of the night last night. But first and foremost, I want to show you a clip recently where Donald Trump was asked about the No Kings protest. He wasn't happy then. He's not happy now. Take a look.
There are several No Kings protests planned across the country on Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What do they call No Kings?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off, and after years we get it done. No, we're not a king. We're not a king at all. Thank you very much.
It's so interesting that Donald Trump is so insistent that he's not a king when he himself has quite literally referred to himself as a king in the past. And also he does all of these different things that are incredibly dictatorial, like ignoring court orders, ignoring people's due process rights, and more. The list goes on. But now I want to show you some of these posts from Donald Trump now that we all know how he feels about the protests. So he just, for some reason, was posting these very strange propaganda videos, like very blatantly, openly propaganda to try to make his protest look better, or excuse me, his parade look better than it actually was. Like, let me just give you a quick look at what we're seeing here.
Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Like, we don't have to watch the whole thing. I promise you're not missing anything. This is such a blatant attempt at Donald Trump trying to use the military, politicize the military for his political benefit. He did it at Fort Bragg recently when he gave a very partisan speech, and he's doing it now by posting clips like this on Truth Social, trying to make it seem like he's a real leader of the military when we all know that he hates our troops. And he just continued to do things like this. He posted another clip from the speech that he gave at this parade. And again, you don't need to see it. You're not missing anything. It's just Donald Trump doing his normal rambling. And it continued as well. He did it multiple times. He also posted a video of him watching the fireworks that took place after the parade that we all saw was a major failure. Just take a look. And there's music in the background, so I can't play it. But this is the video he uploaded of him watching the fireworks after the parade. The band is playing and things like that. Again, really trying to make it seem like his event was far more impressive than it was. He also, for some reason, included this random post about Iran because, you know, what world leader doesn't conduct foreign policy in the middle of the night? Like, what a great idea. But this is the one that really caught my eye. He's like, what a great parade. Thank you, Army. And he posted this at 12:11 in the morning. And it's so obvious that Donald Trump doesn't feel this way. I mean, he can try to build it up and say, what a great parade and things like that. But let me just ask you, does this look like someone who really thinks that their parade was great? This is a screenshot taken in the middle of Donald Trump witnessing his birthday parade, and he looks distraught. He looks like the most depressed man on earth watching how badly it backfired on him. But that didn't stop the White House and people around Donald Trump, his advisors, from trying to defend it. Like Stephen Chung, for example, who is one of Donald Trump's senior advisors, said, quote, about the parade, amazing. Despite the threat of rain, over 250,000 patriots showed up to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. God bless the USA. And he included a clip from the parade. And obviously, this is such a blatant lie. Like, the idea that 250,000 people showed up to this parade is so easily debunkable that it's funny that he even ran with it. I mean, just take a look at this clip that was taken by a journalist who is at Donald Trump's parade, showing the very open grass. I mean, you just tell me in the comments if you think this looks anywhere near 250,000 people, because to me, this looks closer to 2,000 people. There are not hundreds of thousands of people in these grass fields in Washington, D.C. And as it pans backwards, it continues to get worse. Donald Trump was expecting a major turnout, around 200,000 people, and he didn't get that. He didn't get even close to that. But of course, as I mentioned, it didn't stop the White House from lying about it. And so obviously the White House sees, the Trump administration sees the devastating split screen for them. They have Donald Trump's disastrous birthday parade, and then on the flip side, they have all of these Americans out there protesting against Trump, making their voices heard, and so they tried to run a disinformation campaign about the protests as well. Stephen Chung again said the so-called No Kings protests have been a complete and utter failure, with minuscule attendance, according to him. It is sad Democrats and liberals would rather support criminals and undocumented immigrants instead of celebrating the 250th anniversary of our great U.S. Army and Flag Day, but many more Americans are commemorating our brave military men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice and who continue to serve our country. I want to remind everybody that we, the Democratic Party, are actually the party of our service members. We care more about our military than Donald Trump. Joe Biden passed extensive legislation for veterans' health care. They funded the military. They raised military pay. Donald Trump is the one who called fallen service members losers and suckers and things like that. So this, in and of itself, again, is a lie. But the idea that the No Kings protests had a minuscule attendance is just blatantly false. And also, it seems like the White House was in coordination with their conservative influencers because Scott Pressler said something similar, saying, quote, "I'm hearing reports across the country that the No Kings protests were poorly attended and many only lasted an hour before people went home, a giant dud. Now, many of you at home went to these protests, and you and me know that's completely false. I was in Manhattan attending the one that was on Fifth Ave. And it was huge, hundreds of thousands of people there, over 100,000, that's the estimate, and it lasted for many, many hours. In fact, it continued after the protest was supposed to end, and wherever you are, I'm sure that there was a similar situation, but also the data just said, the data tells a completely different story. We can look at the videos, but also the data from the organizers tells us just how big the protests were. The organizers say that millions attended, and the estimate right now, which they're calling a conservative estimate, is that more than 5 million people took part in demonstrations in 2,100 cities and towns across the country, with an additional 300 kick out the clown rallies being held at the same time. Philly saw more than 100,000 attendees, Chicago 75,000, with smaller towns in Michigan reported 400 in a town of 800. So 50% of the town was at that protest. Meanwhile, Republicans like Scott Pressler, Republicans like Stephen Chung, and of course Donald Trump, who's trying to build up his own event, are trying to tell us that we didn't see that. We weren't actually there. All the protests were failures, yada, yada. Again, we can look at all of these different photos and videos from the events and see that that is, of course, not true. I mean, just take a look at San Diego. This is just one example of protests around the United States. And does this look like a real failure to you? Does that look like a failure to the White House? Because if it does, then maybe there's more wrong with them than we already know. I mean, this is San Diego. San Diego. And that's just one city. Hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people across the United States. But the White House is, of course, trying to run cover for Donald Trump and his disastrous birthday parade. So Trump can post all of the propaganda videos that he wants. He can post all of this on Truth Social. It doesn't change the facts. It doesn't change the fact that millions of people were in the streets protesting against him, while maybe 2,000 people were watching his birthday bash. So anyway, I will leave the video there. I just wanted to bring this story to your attention. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.